Okay, so the Datsun is finally sold and it is on to the next project. This is my 2007 BMW 650i. It's fairly clean. The rims, not a big fan of the rims, but they are the Byron whatever rips or something like that. The interior is pretty much freaking mint, but seats are coming out. I get a racing seat and all that good stuff. I haven't decided on if I'm gonna cage it yet. The gray headliner's coming out, and that will be black Alcantara. Let's see, the steering wheel's coming out. Obviously, the shifter. I might try to get that BMW shifter on my TR6060 shifter. Um, the roof is gonna get wrapped in carbon fiber. It's gonna get wide bodied because I want a minimum of 12.5 inch wide wheels in the rear. The brake system is good enough. I don't have to do anything to the clutch. This is the first time I've popped the hood since I bought the car. I opened the hood that day when I bought the car just to make sure that it would be able to make it back from where I picked it up to, back to my house. And it drove like a freaking dream. And so this is it. It's mint. I mean, this is a really smooth V8. So the drivability is going to get lost some with that thing. And I think I'm going to go twins, depending on the space. I'm going to get my small BorgWarner out of there and go twins. The game plan is to shoot for at least 800. And this is pretty cool. It is certified pre-owned. So yeah, we're gonna start doing some things to this boy. The goal with this is clean power. I want the swap to be super freaking clean, almost OEM like. So a lot of things are gonna get painted black. I want to retain a lot of the stock things like power steering and like the coolant freaking container, and I might utilize the stock radiator, and it's gonna have AC. Yeah, I just want it to be super freaking clean, so when you pop the freaking hood, it looks like the LS is supposed to be up underneath there. So that's the game plan with this. I did some initial measurements on the engine, and this engine, which is the BMW N62, is actually wider at the furthest edge of the valve cover, both furthest edges of the valve cover, to the furthest edge of my up and forwards. So I have plenty of room. And then also, I did another measurement, and I measured from the firewall up to the front and gave myself an extra 2 inches to compensate for the drive assembly, the belt drive assembly. And this engine, the N62, is actually 4.5 inches longer than the LS. So the engine is gonna go in like butter. Where the mounts are at, I looked at some of the mounts, and I couldn't determine where the mounts are at, but I'm gonna have to make custom mounts anyway. I've seen some things on the internet, and the transmission mount seems to be really damn close. I might stick a sequential in here, one of those S1 shifters, because that gets rid of this mechanism on a TR6060, and the shifter bolts right there. But it all depends on where the placement of the shifter is going to be relative to inside of the car. So that's going to be, I have to figure that out at a later day. I'm also getting rid of this slave cylinder that's in there. It has a stock OEM slave cylinder from a 2014 Camaro. I'm thinking about getting like a Tifton or one of the aftermarket ones that are a little bit more beefier. But the main thing is she will have a remote bleeder, because trying to bleed this thing off of that little nipple right there in the Datsun was an absolute nightmare. I do also have, these are some 853s that are up here right now that have been milled 30,000s and has all of the works in it. So all of the works are coming out of the 853s, and then they're going into a set of 706s that I have. But I'm also gonna port polish and mill the 706s 30,000s because I got Gen 4 pistons in there with some really fat pocket reliefs or some valve reliefs in them. So I should be able to run my semi-aggressive cam plus having those heads 30,000s and still get piston to valve clearance. So I'm not too concerned about that. I am going to do drive-by-wire, and I'm a little concerned. I'm not too concerned to see if my Holley mid-rise is actually going to fit. If it doesn't, I'm going to get the either BTR intake manifold or the Holley low rise. So if it doesn't fit, this Nick Williams 102 and Holley mid-rise will be up for sale. And then along with the swap harness and the ECU, all of that will be up for sale except for the fuel rails and the fuel injectors. Actually, those injectors are going too. Y'all can keep that snake eater crap. I'm not using it. Nothing the matter with the company. I just don't like the injectors. So I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, this is the intro to the new project. She's going to be nasty. And in later details, I'll go into the specs in comparison between this vehicle and a C6 Grand Sport. If you guys want to look up the specs, look up, 07 650i, look up the wheelbase, the length of the vehicle, the track width, look all of that stuff up, and then also look up a C6 Grand Sport and do a comparison. They are very, very similar. I mean, when I went through everything, it was off by maybe 2 to 3 inches, if that. But this bad boy is also 400 pounds heavier than the C6 Grand Sport. But I think I'm going to save that with that big old ginormous, once I rip that big old ginormous engine out. Anyway, stay tuned, and I'm going to suck for a while at this YouTube stuff so I get the hang of it. Oh, I got to fix that cosmetic stuff. I'm going to suck at this YouTube stuff. I'm not really a YouTuber. I'm more like to turn wrenches and tune. So peace. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Do all that other stuff that those YouTubers say to do on their channels. Just do it on mine. Spread some love. All right. Peace.